Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ray's Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we discuss topics in the news as they affect us all. I am Messi Boko and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchors. Happy holidays to you. Noma is joining us via Zoom. I don't have your time. Let me say hello to Noma. Hello, Noma. Thank you for joining us. And also Franca is here. Noma.
Hello, Norma.
Hi, Liz. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How's your day been? You look amazing, by the way.
She's always looking like this.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm just coming out from sickness. So I don't know what you're seeing, but well, we are trying as always, like I always say, we don't look like what we're going through, but we thank God that it doesn't show on the face.
Yeah.
We're just trying to be everyday superheroes, let me put it that way, but we do go through a lot.
All right, it's good to know that you feel very better, and we're glad to have you tonight as we, go through all of the conversations on this show. All right, so Franca is here. Now I have your time. How are you? Has it been
Good, I'm
with you?
fine, thank you. I'm okay.
Okay, that's great. What's been happening? Anything new?
Nothing new.
How are you coping?
Hanging in there.
All right, so if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's at Official Upgrade TV. Be sure to subscribe. Just click the subscribe button now, like and share the link because it's good to share. So don't just watch alone. Go ahead and share. And tonight, in partnership with Enough is Enough, we will be going through democracy in your pocket, leveraging AI for civic engagement. Democracy empowers citizens to have a voice in governance and hold leaders accountable.
The International Day of Democracy, observed on September 15th, highlights the vital roles of citizens in democracy. This year's theme, Artificial Intelligence as a Tool for Good Governance, emphasizes the role of AI technology in enhancing democratic processes. The key aspects of democracy: transparency and accountability, citizen engagement, access to information, inclusivity, protection of individual rights and freedom.
Okay, so the AI tools for civic engagement are the OOTC WhatsApp chat box, and this is to engage with elected officials and access local government locations and the PU locations. Also, you have the Go Vocal, which is to participate in decision making as well as community engagement. Then we also have the PODUS platform, which is to access legal advice, as well as the Civic AI, which is to advocate for citizen participation and raise public awareness. Then our call to action to Nigerians or for Nigerians is to be able to engage in civic education, utilize resources like the OOTC passport or the elections toolkit, as well as the Citizen's Guide to Recall process to keep themselves informed, because it's important as Nigerians to stay informed. We're also to participate in policy making because it's important to attend public hearings and provide feedback for these public officers. And then also be part of the voting process during the elections by actively participating in your local, your state, or the national elections.
Well, we also have support civil society organization, support CSOs protecting civic rights. That's for number 4, call to action for Nigerians. And number 5, you have civic engagement. That's participate in town hall meetings and public forums. In conclusion, it is important to note that the power of the people is greater than the power in the people. And that's what, I always like to say, that the people need to understand that power resides with them. Until we get to the fact that we understand that, hey, we are the ones with the power. Until then, nothing would literally change because everyone seemed to throw their hands and give up, But that's the much that we can take tonight for Enough is Enough. Thank you so much. And so don't forget, tonight we'll be looking at the aftermath of the Edo elections. It's much anticipated elections. It has come and gone. The Edo people have decided. But just before then, here's what we found in today's quote. If we don't vote, we're ignoring history and giving away the future. And that's by Pat Michel. If we don't vote, I did like to take that again quickly. If we don't vote, we are ignoring history and, what he says, giving away the future. So what are your thoughts really about, elections and voting? Have you literally exercised your franchise as a citizen since you were born?
No, I've never voted.
You see, that's the problem. You're giving away your future.
Yeah.
Why haven't you voted?
So for a very long time, I couldn't get my voter's card because it was difficult to register and all that. And then when I started getting interested in politics, I just realized that, it didn't count. My vote really doesn't count. So I think I just lost interest in Nigerian politics, basically.
But you see, that's what the quote talks about, understanding that power is in the hands of the people, that, the people have power than those who are actually in authority, literally. But I'd like to hear from Norma as well. What are your thoughts when you were back here in Nigeria? Did you ever exercise your franchise?
Yes, Messi, I actually did go out to vote, I think twice. Stayed in the long queues under the hot sun, just trying to ensure that no matter what, I have done my own part, and that is to make a decision of who my next leader should be. Unfortunately, on both counts, the candidates that I had voted for didn't win the elections, but it was done in a way, at least the area where I was staying in, it was done in a way that we were able to do that. Unfortunately, there are people who are in areas who have violence and a lot of disruptions in being able to exercise their civic duties. But I had the privilege to do that. And we've come a long way since then, I believe. There's a lot to talk about today, I guess, on that topic, so I'll leave the rest there.
All right. Well, that's it. When we open our phone lines, we would love to hear what you have to say. But first off, we'll go on a break and we'll see you. And when we return, we'll just check out what we found in the news. Please stay with us.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then
Let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Well, if you just tuned in, you're still watching Ways, and today is the International Holiday, National Family Day. It's celebrated on September the 23rd, puts the spotlight on people that makes our lives meaningful. Families come in many forms, I agree, and sizes, and under different circumstances. But what they all share is unconditional love and support for those growing on the same family tree. From nuclear family units to extended clans, families can drive us crazy and make life worth living. So today it's actually that day that would be important for you to take some time, to appreciate that special person in your life who's making life a meaning. And what you can do is give them a call, take them out on a lunch date or something. Even though I advocate that should be like an everyday thingy, but today is actually very special, and I think that we should not, ignore that. So if you have anyone that's very special to you, family, today, if you're watching us, please take out some time, celebrate those ones who are making life, very amazing for you. And some of them might not be blood, as it were, family can come. So today is also it doubles as the International Day of Sign Language, and the International Day of Sign Language is commemorated on this day since the World Federation Day in 1951 as a result of the efforts by the WFD in 2017. And Norma, I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts on this day? I mean, any special person you want to give a shout out to? Norma, can you hear us?
If I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just saying quickly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Today is the
I was
International
saying that
Family Day.
is a,
Go ahead.
yes. Family is very key, and it's a very integral part of who we are. It should be anyway. I love my family, the different characters and personalities, they all come together to form different meanings, and it's who we are. It's what makes us who we are every day. So I just during the week I just sent a message out to my family members saying that I love them so much and I wouldn't trade them for anything. And knowing that today is Family Day, I guess I was probably ahead of
You're
time
ahead of it,
there.
yeah.
But yes, sometimes. Absolutely. Growing up, you may not have appreciated it as much as now that you're an adult, because now you see things from different perspectives. So it's a very key part of who we become when we're older, because the support is much needed for what we want to achieve in life.
Okay. Franca, how about you? Just quickly.
My family is, anybody who knows me knows my family is everything. Okay. I have just one sister and two brothers, but my favorite is like my best friend.
Oh, that's great.
So like I talk to my family like every day. My mom is like my sister too. So it's just if you have good family, you're not scared of anything.
No, that works.
You're not scared of anything. Yeah.
All right, that's it. And shout out to everyone who's out there making life very fantastic for all of us, whether related by blood or not. Every family, everyone out there, we do love you and we appreciate you. So, but quickly to, what did you find in the news for us today?
I was trying to avoid bad news, but tariff hike looms the tariff hike as the monthly power subsidiary hits 181 billion. And electricity customers on band A feeders may need to brace up for a possible tariff increase following the rise in the electricity tariff shortfall, otherwise known as the subsidy. The Punch today has reports that electricity subsidy to be paid by federal government rose to 181.63 billion in September from 102,003 billion. In April, when the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission announced the removal of subsidy in areas categorized as band A feeders, the subsidy was 140.7 billion. The numbers are, so I don't understand these numbers. I just know that it's going up.
It will be a conversation for some other day, specifically.
Yes.
We'll have time for that. But let's head to Norma now. What did you find for us today in the news?
Oh, well, it's in line with our conversation this evening, and it has to do with INEC and the highly anticipated governorship elections in Edo State. The atmosphere was actually very, very charged because there were speculations of a lot of disruptions and violence, and to ensure the smooth process of the exercise, about 43,000 policemen, along with various other security personnel, were deployed across the state. And despite the anxiety or potential for unrest, the elections seem to have unfolded with a relative amount of peace. Voters are able to participate in the process, and interference was held to the bare minimum. So, but I would leave, of course, the results came out, and Obebolo came out at top from APC, All People's Progressive Party, and he had about 291,000 votes, 667. But we will go into the details. The second was from the PDP, All Progressive Congress, sorry, pardon me, and PDP came second, while Labour Party came third. But we will be going into the conversation later. But the unrest that was anticipated, good enough, everything was held in a cordial manner. But then we'll get other details as the conversation goes along.
All right, and that's so much we can take tonight for this segment. When we return, we'll delve straight into the conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the show. If you just tuned in, you're still watching What Are You Saying? #Ways. And tonight we will be looking at the aftermath of the elections. As the dust has settled, on this very anticipated election tonight, we'll be exploring the aftermath of the elections, the implication for the future of governance in Edo State. We saw a vibrant display of democracy, and some people would say were the people actually trunk out in their numbers. Some would say not actually, when you look at the figures and the statistics. But there were also reports that it was marred by troubling reports of vote buying and selling and all the issues, that plagued the elections. And these challenges, some people say that has contributed to the outcome of the elections. At the end of the day, you have the APC, clinging to power in Edo State. But to make sense of all of this, we do have a guest who's joining us. He's a legal practitioner, a political analyst, Liborous Oshoma. Thank you so much for making up time to be with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, then. First off, I did like to ask you, what are your thoughts, really? How would you, describe the or assess the overall conduct of the elections in terms of logistics, when you look at the logistics in terms of security, and also the conduct of INEC itself as an umpire?
On the surface, if you look at the process, you would say, yes, democracy has prevailed. But if you look underneath, you will say the Nigerian factor happened. It is a recurrent decimal. It's been like that from 1999. Democracy keeps, getting worse. What's democracy? When people cannot truly or willingly exercise their franchise. They are either trading their rights or they are buying. And then every year we look at the logistics of moving materials. You look at a situation where election is supposed to commence at 7 a.m., accreditation is supposed to commence at 7 a.m., and at 9 in some areas, right in the city, in the heart of town, materials have not arrived, and we still have situations where we're talking about logistics of deploying materials to polling centers on the day of election. The roads are bad, and when we look at we look at the election simply from the point of view of deployment and the usage of beavers and the uploading of results, you would say yes, that it was a far cry from what we're used to. After all, this time around, we didn't have technical glitch. But in terms of distribution of those materials, in terms of the fairness of security operatives, you see what you see at the surface is different from what you see underneath. A situation where any government that is at the center and that is interested in power, once you have the government that is interested in grabbing power at the state, the security operatives will kowtow, either look that way or look the other way. And that is why the incidence of vote trading was very rampant. That, when you impoverish the people on the day of election, the money you are supposed to use to provide infrastructure for them, you share that money to them. The money comes straight, from the mint. And for an economy where people can, where minimum wage, we're looking for money to pay minimum wage of 70,000 naira. On the day of election, people are getting as much as 50,000 naira to abandon their political parties to go vote for another one. So if you look at all of that, you would say, well, yes, on the surface, like I said before, Nigeria, democracy had happened, but underneath, really, you would say Nigeria, happened to the election. So that was basically my general.
Okay, so I guess Norma has a question to ask you now.
View of the entire process. But that said, that's not to take away the fact.
Oshoma, we seem to be having some network glitch or, distortion that didn't happen during the elections at Edo State with the beavers, but we seem to be having some technical connection. Okay, so I hear that we have Oshoma back with us. We had lost your connection. Yes, go ahead. So we lost thoughts with you. I mean, at some point, we couldn't make sense of what you were saying. So please, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, I said that, if you can hear me now, I said that, despite all of this, the politicians did what they are supposed to do. The workshop. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, I said that if you look at it, politicians do what they need to do. Every election, whoever won will tell you it's victory for democracy. Whoever lost will, complain and said it was badly rigged out. In 2016, when Obaseki came, that was how PDP complained. Some of those people who are rejoicing today were in PDP then, and that was how they complained bitterly about the outcome of that election. In 2020, some of the persons like Oshoma, who are rejoicing today also, complained bitterly that the process was flawed. Obaseki, who is complaining today, was rejoicing that it was victory for democracy. But today the tables are turned, and the people that he couldn't manage, the people who were once with him in 2020 today, he allowed them to be united against him. And then, they did what they needed to do. And if you say the word rigging, yes, they rigged him out. Because you only rig election where you're popular.
But I did like to, ask you, just before I hand you over to my, colleagues here in the studio, it looks as though the people actually, the will of the people was done, because we could see a lot of jubilation and celebration. I mean, there was a video that went viral where the Oba Bini himself was celebrating. You know, it looks as though people were tired.
Please, correct that impression. That's an old video. That's an old video. That video was the Oba of Benin when the artifacts were returned. That was not Oba of Benin celebrating victory. And even when the APC went to salute the Oba of Benin at the palace, he did correct comment to Oshoma when Oshoma said he warned him when he presented Godwin. He said, no, even Godwin is his subject. All the candidates are his subject. So he has no preferred candidate. So he corrected that impression. That was an old video.
So are you saying that, you know, the outcome of the election, having the APC clinging to power, is not the reflection of the will of the people in Edo State?
What I am saying is it depends on the side you are sitting on. It depends on the way you look at it. There are no organic voters. There are no organic voters in elections in Nigeria. What you have are induced voters. That's why you talk about vote buying. If they were organic, when you talk about will, the will of the people, do you have? If a poor man does not have a will, let's tell ourselves the truth. His will can be purchased at random. So a situation where funds are deployed to buy people's will, can you truly, in all sense, say that was the will of the people? Let's not be carried away with the languages of the politician or the will of the people prevail. The will of the people truly was purchased. Both major parties purchased votes. The people sold, people bought. So both major parties purchased votes. There was trading. So, and then a situation where in some areas materials did not arrive as at when due. And then there were insecurity challenges in some areas where at collation centers, you hear that guns were fired, and especially in Auchi and some other places. Will you say truly that, our democracy is not a reflection of the will of the people? Let's not delude ourselves. What we just do is the will of the politician. It's for us to endorse the will of the politician, the way the politicians want to do it. And then we say, yes, the will of the people has prevailed. And then they borrow that language to the press. So the press will regurgitate it and say the will of the people. A free will donation is one that is not contrived, it's one that is not induced. And that's why we say a confessional statement is supposed to be freely given. But in this case, when it is not freely given, it is induced, whether by money or by food or any other thing, with wrappers that is shared during campaigns, and all of those things, then you can't say the will of the people. Yes, but you also have the politicians, the traditional politicians, people who join politics who want their party to win. So irrespective of whoever won, you will still see people celebrate. People will celebrate. And then that celebration you're seeing, that also cannot take out the fact that Obaseki, the outgoing governor, also did not manage his associates very well. He did not manage his victory very well. He created enemies for himself. People that helped him in 2016, he made them enemies. Jumped ship in 2020. Those that also assisted him in 2020, he threw them under the bus. And so all of them united. That's the celebration you saw. They all united. They were united to take back power from him. And so when they succeeded in doing that, you saw them rejoicing. And so it is easy for them to say, yes, it is the will of the people. What you have is the will of politicians against another politician.
Very interesting points that you have raised right there. But, I would just hand you over now to Franca or Norma, whoever's ready with a question.
Okay, so in fact, I was just going to ask him if Obaseki's tenure really affected Aswen. But you already mentioned that, his bad governance was part of the reason why they ganged up against him. So, my question is, if Aswen was in another party, you think he would have done better?
If Aswen was the APC candidate, PDP wouldn't have gotten the kind of votes that they got. Give it to Aswen. The number of votes that the PDP got, it's because of the love or the reach that he was able to, reach out to people individually and personally, not because of PDP. And then also, it was not, I tell people, Aswen didn't lose the election. It was a referendum on Obaseki. Obaseki's attitude is bad governance cost Asue the election.
Yes.
So, if in terms of infrastructure development, Obaseki, performed poorly.
Yes. Yeah.
And in terms of managing men and resources, Obaseki is a bad manager of men and resources. Everybody that has assisted Obaseki, name it, he quarreled with all of them. You remember in 2020, Wike was in Benin, stood strongly for him. Chief Danobi was with Obaseki. Philip Shaibu was with Obaseki. All of them, today, they are all supporting APC from a donut. And Obede Hama was with Obaseki. They handed the ticket of PDP to him. So do you expect all of these people to join forces with those people that were fighting Obaseki in 2020 and he will succeed? Okay. Even if he succeeds, they were going to outrig him because a success for Asue would mean, a success for Obaseki, and we gloat over them. So they did everything to ensure that that did not happen. Coupled with the fact that Obaseki, throughout his last 4 years, was dragging artifacts with the Oba of Benin, something that shouldn't be. Look at the PDP campaign. His campaign, PDP campaign train visited Benin. Obaseki could not manage to take them to the palace, no matter the grievances. At least you pretend, but he didn't. He couldn't manage it. So all of that cost Asue the election. The victory, the resounding victory that Obaseki got in 2020, he frittered it away and expect that he would bring a candidate and people will overwhelmingly support him. Even if the people had overwhelmingly supported him, what the traditional politicians, the gang up against Obaseki wouldn't have allowed the city the light of the day.
Okay. All right. So Norma Ifanga, I would hand you over to Norma Ifanga now. Norma, please go ahead with your question.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Liborous, for your insight so far. So I wanted to ask, what legal framework would you say exists to address food buying? Because you had mentioned that quite a number of times, that the people were induced to, and we also saw that, in fact, that was one of the great concerns of these elections. So are there any legal frameworks that exist to address the issue of vote buying? And if there are, how effective have they been? And what can be done learning from the scenario of these Edo elections?
I will answer your question, and then also I will extend that question to the issue of overvoting also. Vote buying is a criminal offense prohibited by the Electoral Act. But unfortunately, like we say here, our problem is not lack of laws, but the lack of the willpower to implement these laws. So you have the prosecutor, who is INEC. Once INEC is in bed with the government at the center, you have the police also, who are supposed to execute this law. Once they're in bed with the government at the center, it is easy for them to look the other way, even when votes are being bought and sold and bought openly on election day. So it is the willpower until we have a situation where INEC, every election, the INEC is insulated. The management of election is completely insulated from the participant or the party at the center, where you have the election where the election is, online. Even though here, because of the technology and the fact that, Nigerians, politicians can do and undo, they can even hack anything. So if it's a technology that you are not creating by yourself, the challenges of protecting that technology will be very high. But, you're still going to have these challenges where INEC, will be an appendage of the government at the center. The police, the army are deployed, and to support a particular political party. And at the end of the day, the only people that will be arrested will be people of the opposition, and those of the ruling party, will easily buy and sell votes, and these agencies will look the other way. So until we we insulate the police and INEC, make them an independent body that do not have to kowtow to the whims and caprices of the government at the center, we will keep repeating and regurgitating this story every day. Then on the issue of, because another complaint that was prevalent in the election was the issues raised by the PDP, talking about vote buying. Sorry, overvoting. That in some cases, in some areas, results were just written and then they didn't do a very neat job. You have a situation where the total number of votes cast was more than the number of registered voters. By the virtue of the provisions of the Electoral Act, in Section 63 or so, 68, overvoting is not even when the number of actual voters is more than the number of registered voters. It is when the number of actual voters is more than the number of accredited voters. So, when the number of actual voters is more than the number of accredited voters, what the law prescribes is that result from that polling unit should be cancelled. But the challenge that we usually encounter at the tribunal is the fact that when you have 21 days from when results are announced. Yesterday, you start to count 21 days within which to file your election petition. Within these 21 days, you have 194,000 polling units. You need to examine the card readers, the beavers from these 194,000 polling units one by one to get the back end information on the total number of accredited voters. Because mind you, you use the beavers to accredit voters. So this information is with INEC. INEC is the one that conducted the election. The law presumed the election result regular once results are announced. And so, a man who conducted the election result, no matter how irregular, and the law presumes it's regular once you announce the result, what is the guarantee that it will allow you into its back end to begin to look at all of the discrepancies that that you are complaining of? So, within 21 days will not be enough to examine all of those, information, all of those discrepancies. So when you get to the tribunal is going to say, well, yes, we agree that there are complaints, but are the complaints substantial enough to affect the overall outcome of the election? So these are the challenges that, going forward, if you have a situation where we're talking about online voting, everybody will not have to queue up. You can have manual voting and online voting. Then it will be easy to eliminate all of these manual processing and having to go to the back end. Another issue that will be easy to eliminate would also be this idea of you now have a process where your IREV will not just be a viewing portal, but also will automatically collate results. But as we speak now, the Supreme Court has said IREV is a collation, it's a viewing portal. It does not collate. So anybody can just upload results. It can even be manipulated in some cases. And then they upload results. And then the collation is still a manual process. And that's why they are telling you some of the results on IREV are different from the results that were manually collated. But when there is discrepancies, the court has said you resort to the primary evidence. What is the primary evidence? The manual result sheet that were submitted. So what is the essence of IREV? It become a picture for everybody to view. So work done zero.
It's just very saddening and also very funny that we are faced with this situation, because if we look at how we got to a point where we thought that the best thing that would have happened to our election or electoral process is the introduction of the beavers or technology, part of the technology to the administration of our elections, and then it has just become a thing of like you would say pictures and just viewing it. But we'll have to take a quick break now.
But the only good thing that IREV the beavers have given you is to reduce the number of actual voters, unlike before where you have, bogus number of voters that are actually not on the register.
Okay. All right. So we'll just take a quick break right now and we'll return and we'll continue the conversation right here, with Liborous. Please stay with us. Well, if you just tuned in, we're still having the conversation. We're looking at the aftermath of the governorship elections in Edo State, and we still have our guest who joined us virtually, Liborous Oshoma, who's a legal practitioner and also political analyst. Thank you so much, and thank you for staying with us still, and thank you also for tuning in and watching. I would, at this point, hand you over to Franca. I'm sure you had a question to ask, more like a follow-up question.
Yes.
Let's go ahead.
I was going to ask, so at this point, for Edo State, is it about the party or somebody who would even help them move forward? There were so many, there was Aswen, is it about the party or for them to come together and pick someone?
No, it's about it's about politics. Politics is hinged on political party and political participation and relationship management in Nigeria. So it doesn't matter how good you are if your party does not have men and material, that will galvanize people on election day or before election. You can be good like Barack Obama, you will not win election in Nigeria. So it's not about slogans, it's not about campaigns. It is about talking to people at the grassroots. And that's why, if it's not about party, then anybody can just hop on any political party and then the people will embrace it. But there are dominant parties that, even when there are no elections, they reach out to the people, they consistently hold meetings, they provide succor to those people. And those people, when there's election, it is rub my back, I rub your back. When it is time to now work and get compensated, when it's time to get compensated, they will work for their party and so that there'll be compensation. So, and that's why, some persons will tell you, oh, don't bother about that party, they don't have structures. Because structures will mean that you have local government offices at the local level, you have offices at the ward level, you have people, at all of those offices, so that when election time like this, you'll be able to reach out. And then, to be able to manage. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
So you also need to be able to manage. You also need to be able to manage the people that have supported you. Because in politics in Nigeria, politics for a lot of people is business in Nigeria. Sadly so. People came out to put their money in your campaign. They believe in you. They deploy resources. They to be able to, so that at the end of the day, in the next election cycle, you also, be able to work together. But when you push them all the way and say, go to hell, I want to do it all by myself. No matter how good your candidate is, at the end of the day, you will they would just throw him on under the bridge, and it will be difficult for such a candidate to recover electorally. Look at Benin, for example. You look at all the traditional politicians. These are the people who attend political meetings every day, every week, every month. It is not you and I that are on social media or that sit there in Lagos or sit there in Abuja, Port Harcourt, or in London. These people, they connect with those voters. So when it is time for election, they are the ones that you still go and meet. Even though you would also appeal to the, educated ones who are not, who do not participate in the everyday election, you need to draw a bridge, There needs to be a bridge, a connecting bridge. So it is not just about the person, it's also about the political party, about also the supporters, the people who are with you. Otherwise, you can be very popular on Twitter, you can be very popular on Billboard, but on ground, you are nowhere to be found.
All right, please, I would like you to hold on to that thought as we open up the phone lines to allow conversations to come in. So please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation by sending us an SMS or WhatsApp to 08180384663. Our phone lines are also now open, so you can also call us on the number 070-250-0779 or 749, or you can also reach out via the numbers 070-4242 and 420. It looks as though I'm squinting. I probably might have to, get me some glasses, right? So don't forget, we're literally saying that you can join the conversation. Do well to send us SMS, or you can also reach us via WhatsApp. Do also well to let's share your thoughts. What do you think? What was your experience, especially for those who were actually at the election grounds? I mean, those in those states, if you can hear us, would like to hear your thoughts, share your experience about the elections. But I'd like to ask you, before I hand you over to Norma, do you see any similarity in terms of voter behavior between the last election, that's the presidential election of 2023, and the governorship elections of 2024 for Edo State? Are there any, similar thing or trend that looked similar? Anything that was just the same?
No. There are no similarities because in that election, let's pigeonhole this. Nigerians, the enthusiasm for the presidential election is usually different from. It's reduced when it comes to governorship election, and it's also not the same. The lower the stake, the fewer the participation. So for the general election, you saw a lot of young people who ordinarily would not participate, also trooping out. Also, you had a candidate from the Labour Party that appealed to a lot of them. But in this election, the Labour Party candidates ordinarily, had the same appeal, but you had the sentiment of, oh no, he's from the same area with the outgoing governor. So people, the mass of the young people in Edo South that ordinarily would have come out, support him the way they supported the Labour Party in the senatorial election in that state, didn't do that in Benin especially, and in area where his deputy governor came from, we expect that, people also would, overwhelmingly troop out. A lot of them went for the money. They sold their votes. Some, the few ones, others were harassed and intimidated. A lot of them sold their votes. So unlike the presidential election where people stood their ground and said, no, we know they give shisha and we know they take shishi. But this one, there were a lot of giving of shishi and taking of shishi.
Okay. Norma, are you still with us?
Yes.
All right, please go ahead.
So I wanted to take it a little back to Okwebolo now as the Okwebolo as the newly elected gubernatorial
governor-elect.
Governor. He's now the governor.
Right.
Is that the
now the
governor-elect?
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out your thoughts, or to know your thoughts on his role now as the new governor-elect. What does that? What are the challenges that are he's quickly going to be facing with the political state of things in Edo State, and what can he readily begin to do as he takes up the office? I want to double the question in terms of media. What role do you see media playing as well in exercising of civil rights with regards to elections?
Yeah, let me start from the challenges. There are a lot of challenges as we speak now. Nigerians are not smiling, so Edo State also is not smiling. There are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of infrastructural decay. There are a lot of complaints against the outgoing governor. Complaints like seizure of land, lack of infrastructure, bad roads, civil servants challenges, so all of that. And then you have the traditional politicians who felt they have been shortchanged and exited from the activities of the state. So the first thing that he will need to do is to ensure that he tries to reconcile, the people, with government. When I mean reconciling the people with government, people also are scared that, maybe with the ganging up of the traditional, or let me not use the word ganging up, with the alliance of the traditional politicians, that Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
That with the synergy created by the traditional politicians, that it will mark a return of thuggery. He needs to disabuse the mind of the people from that, first and foremost. And that's the reconciliation I'm talking about. He also, this time for celebration is over. Now it is time to work. He needs to identify, he already knows the challenges. They visited almost all the wards in the state. He needs to begin to identify the critical, low-hanging fruits that they need to quickly begin to harvest. The state of the roads in Edo State are bad. Thank God he's in APC. APC is the government at the center. Even if it means him liaising immediately with the Minister for Works to ensure that some of these roads are fixed. Then the ones that the state government can begin to work on immediately, they need to identify them. The state of agriculture in the state and the schools, how they can, you have industries in Benin that have got comatose. You have the Bende Breweries, for example. Whatever happened to that company, there's need for them to sit down and find a way to reconcile their books with the investors. And that will also create jobs for Benin City, people in the Edo State, sorry. Then the state of power in Benin has been very, very bad and comatose. It shouldn't be the problem of the state government, but the state government can liaise with, the disco to ensure that, because once there's constant power supply in Edo State, it will stimulating industries. Benin, Esan, that's the part he's from, that's Edo Central, is known for agriculture. You have Pineapple, you have they are large producers of rice, So there's need for him to look at how they can invest in agriculture and bring back better state tax force on communal farming. But in doing that, there's need for him to, curb insecurity headlong. So the job is massive. The job is really, really, really massive. So, but he needs to approach it one step at a time if he really wants, results. And once he does that, it will be easy for the people to actually warm themselves up to him, even those that didn't campaign for him. This is not the time to begin to share money or compensate people of the states. Where are these assets and what belongs to the state? What has been taken from the state, and what, where can they really? Can these assets, be properly utilized? There are some, there are some assets of the state that had been under lock and key because of Obaseki's quarrel with certain persons. They need to look at how they can revive those, strategic assets also. So these are some of the challenges I can easily remember. And then the role of the media in curbing, in enhancing civil rights. It is to expose, the challenges, expose the problems associated with, our elections, INEC logistic challenges, and provide solutions. The issue of vote buying is a big menace that the media shouldn't shy away from. There's need for the media to expose these things, say it as it is, and also position blame where it should be, irrespective of the persons involved. The media has, really tried, especially the new media. It has also exposed some of these shenanigans, if not for the fear, of the new media and, some of these programs like this. The politicians ordinarily will do whatever they want to do and think that you can do whatever you need to do and go scot-free.
All right.
So, but there's still needs to do, especially, the traditional media.
Liborous Oshoma, thank you so much. We're really out of time, and we hope that we have, some time to talk further on these issues. We're looking forward to having you, God willing, on the show next time. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation this evening. We do appreciate your time. I'm not sure he can hear me. Well, that's the much that we can take. We are absolutely out of time. And I really don't know, ladies, you have final words? I'm lost for words. If you notice, I've just been very, quiet. I have a lot of questions to ask. I'm just wondering where would we get to, because I know that the issue has always been that, you know, our democracy is a nascent democracy, but, you know, for how long would we, you know, continue to go on like this until, you know, we say that, hey, we can compare our elections to the global standards. And I know a lot of people would say, even for countries that we're looking up to, like the United States of America, we want to begin to mirror. Some people would say Donald Trump has no business, you know, contesting. Why would the people be tilting towards a certain Donald Trump? And they want to begin to look at the ills. But for us, it's entirely, I mean, there's a long way to go. There's a lot of ills, especially the issue of vote buying. You also want to look at the issue of voter apathy. It's also a very huge one. Because if you look at the total number of registered voters, the number of people who registered to partake in an election and the actual number of people who turned out to vote, or total number of registered voters, you juxtapose that with the accredited voters and also look at the total number of vote casts, then it begs for a lot of questions. So there's a lot that's begging for answers.
So, in fact, I was going to ask, you know, I was sitting down here and I was just thinking when he was speaking, there's so much happening and everybody's just centered about their emotions, about how they feel. Do you understand? Nobody is looking at who is the best candidate.
Yeah, that's the thing that we're saying. So you will hear the conversation around poverty has been weaponized. Even the people are hungry, and so nobody's actually, you know, nobody is looking at what is right or wrong, and that's what it is. Norma, your last words as we just call it a wrap on the show tonight. Norma, can you hear us?
I guess if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, the elections have happened. It's just for Nigerians in Edo State to be able to move forward. And I think from my takeaway from Liborous is that a lot of consistency needs to happen for us to be able to get there.
Okay.
We can't get tired of doing what we're doing.
Okay.
And we could see from Nigerians that to continue to be.
Norma, I'm being prompted that we have to go for lack of time. I'm so sorry to, you know, cut you there. Thank you so much for being part of the show. We'll definitely come with more interesting conversation. See you tomorrow. God helping. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Raised Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.